something to say.
Holy smokes, it's been a minute. It's only been a minute since my last podcast. I've been busy with some big things. I want to share with you guys what's going on, but it's also been a minute since I've actually talked to our next guest. Now, when she left the hometown that I'm in now, she took off and she's lived 35 life, at least more than a cat. A cat's got 9. Kira has 35 and counting. So let's welcome a blast from the past, where I started one of my first clients to where she is now. Let's welcome Kira.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
What's going on?
Now, Kira, we got some history. Like, I remember, I'm getting right into it. I remember the very first time that I met you, and we're at World Health Club.
Yep,
Bay
the
Club.
The one downtown.
Downtown, coming in, and we're talking about assessments. I was new as a coach, and I remember
You
your
were
first
baby.
time.
You were baby too. We were both.
I know. We was young, and I was. What would you like to be when you grow up? And of course, Kira didn't say, I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a teacher. No. She said, I want to be a wrestler. Now, when you hear somebody that's 18-ish, working in the industry, working in the bar, and they come in and like, I want to be a wrestler. Okay, well, that's good.
Like Trish Stratus.
So, Kira, man, we got some catching up. Welcome, and let's just dig into this. What have you been up to for the past decade?
A lot of things. There's been a lot. It's a very layered. This is a novel with many, chapters, and actually, like, there's like maybe like a 7th edition of how much stuff I have done. I left Calgary in like 2012-ish, and haven't looked back. So here we are, and a lot has changed. But I couldn't be happier where I am, and it's not without obviously all the stereotypical things that people have to say, like a lot of hard work and sacrifice and blood, sweat, and tears, literally. But here we are. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember, like, it's, you went to Mexico. Was Mexico your first stop? Is that where it was?
Yeah. So I wrestled like in Canada, obviously, for like probably just under a year or so, and then I went to Mexico. Mm-hmm.
Everyone that you kind of knew then, and I don't know who you're in contact with now, who you were in contact with then, everybody's kind of watching. Oh, okay, yeah, Kira's wrestling. Okay, she knows how to do a high kick. Okay. And I don't know how many people have actually said at some point to you, holy crap, you did it. Because I mean, how many people were for and how many people were against when you first started this?
Well, I feel like a lot of people to my face were like, yeah, totally. But then I find out, obviously, after the fact that everyone's just like, this girl is out of her freaking mind, and she's going to be back here in 2 months, and that's it. It's interesting because I do talk to, like, I have my best groups of friends, like Sherry. You remember Sherry?
Yep.
Mandy, who's now Mandy Dorenzo, Brittany Rondeau. Like, those girls, like, they were bridesmaids in my wedding. Like, we have always been friends. Heather Jones, Heather Jones.
Yep.
She actually married us. So
I
still can stay in contact. I'm very close with all those girls, but then there's a whole bunch of people that I just don't talk to anymore. And it's not because it just don't live there, or it's just like people, lives take us in different paths and things like that. And then, I mean, I went back to Calgary just this like last September. Oh my God, it's been a year now. Before the world went to shit. I actually was at like Mike Labinjo's memorial golf tournament because I helped with putting that on. And then, it's crazy to me because so much has changed. And then when I go home, it's like some, not all the time, because there's a lot of things that change. People have kids and married and houses and things, but like adult things. And then there's a lot of stuff that I'm just like, oh my God. Is it 2005?
Right? There's some people still living like that.
Yeah, yep. A lot of people still living like that. A lot of people just like involved in whatever they're doing. And I mean, and then there's always there's tons of my best friends that are like super protective of me, obviously, and who, are been my supporters like since day freaking one. And then there's others who like, I now hear about this, obviously, because no one would tell me at the time, but like, we're just like, oh my God, she's so stupid. Like, she's never going to make it. And like, I don't know who she thinks she is. And like, this is ridiculous. And, you know, and a lot of people that even when I lived in Mexico were saying that behind my back, even though they were talking to my face as if, or on the phone as if they did believe in me. I don't know. It's like a weird thing. And then now everyone wants to be my best friend, you know?
Oh my God, I knew you would make it. Oh, it's so awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. You know,
Or my favorite also was that when we actually went to, so John, my husband John came with me to Calgary for the first time, like last Christmas. And we went to what used to be the Roadhouse. I don't even know what it's called anymore.
I don't.
You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, that building. And it was so funny to me because like so much was the same. And then also no one gave a shit about me. Because John had just been on Survivor. So like there was like, it was so funny. Like people I hadn't seen in so long. And they're like, hi. I'm like, oh my God, hey, so nice to see you. And they're like, yeah. Okay. Yeah. John. I'm like, where's John? So one of the managers took him down to the cooler. I'm like, what is happening right now? Like they're just like having shots down there and in the cash out room. I'm like, what's happening?
Hello.
So, yeah, it's just been like a crazy journey of growth for myself. And you know, you really do, as you get older and as you get more mature and more wonderful, you figure out who those people are that are, you know, your people, and then everybody else is just kind of there, and you know, life goes on, and I'm not losing sleep over it, and here we are. So
yeah, because I mean, you've done it, and like you said, it hasn't been without a ton of sacrifice. I mean, there's so many opportunities where, you know, at one point you're thinking, you know, should I stop, go do this idea or this opportunity, but you stuck to your roots. Now your roots go deep. And we're gonna go in the time
right now. What are you talking about?
Well, you know, we're gonna go a little deeper than those roots. So we're gonna go back, and I'm gonna share a screen with you, and then we're gonna show with, you know, I don't know if people have seen this side of you yet, but where it all started. So let's when you see this picture, just kind of let me know, you know, what's going on here. What's going on here?
Okay, so this is like, I mean, it's hard. Even you asked me for some older photos, and I really can't find any older photos of me from my first fitness competitions. But this was at the CBBF Nationals when I won the fitness tall division in Vancouver.
Now, fitness back then is a little bit different than the fitness category now, and all depends what, you know, federation you're coming from. Now,
yeah.
What was fitness back then? What exactly did you have to do?
Oh my God, it was like so fun. It was like you did like a cheerleading routine with like one arm push-ups and stuff. No, it was a dance and acrobatics and like strength and conditioning kind of routine for like a minute and a half, I think it was, 90 seconds, can't remember. And then quarter turns. There I am. Yeah.
Oh, so something like this.
Yeah. So
there was
like a high energy exhibition of your, you know, creativity, but also obviously most importantly, like your strengths and conditioning, because let me tell you that when you're at that level of dehydration, you feel like crap.
I bet. And so, I mean, yeah, there was flexibility moves, strength moves. And how long was the routine? 90 seconds or something like that?
It was like a minute and a half, 90 second kind of like thing. It wasn't very long, but it was a lot. But yeah. So and that's at the at the Arnold Amateur in Columbus, Ohio.
Now, was this your very last show, or did you have another one after this?
Actually, there was a show I did like the I did nationals like after that even. I believe you were even there. You were there because I have a picture. Remember I did like a Transformers routine?
Oh, yeah. So it wasn't this one, because that was in 2010 right there.
That's the Arnold. That's the
Arnold.
Yeah. I'm so cute. Look how cute I am.
So now let's take, you know, your show life where you're competing in fitness, you are, you're getting ready to perform, you're walking on stage, you are dehydrated, you feel like shit, but now you have to do a 90-second routine. Now, were you ever nervous stepping on stage then versus now? Did you think, okay, I'm wholly nervous, and then all of a sudden you go to do your first professional wrestling, you're like, oh shit, this is next level? Or are they kind of comparable?
You know this. I was like a ballet dancer and like a theater kid, like growing up. So performing was never really, or never has really been like I mean, obviously we still get nervous. Like there's sometimes when it's a really big match or it's a pay-per-view that's live or there's literally 30,000 people staring at you. There's always like a moment of like before I go out. And I feel like that's so important to not lose that, because that also shows, like, it shows that we care and we're invested in everything. And like, there's so much that goes into a match, and to like, even like doing fitness competition, obviously, that like, you're just like emotionally so invested in it as well. But like wrestling wise, yeah, like I still get like sometimes I'm like, why do I do this to myself? Like, what is wrong with me? I have mental problems. Like I have issues. And it's funny too, because like, it's actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that even that nationals that I was saying was not my last one, because I actually did a bikini fitness comp. Like I did a bikini, not fitness, competition in Mexico City.
What?
Yeah, I won.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't think I told you that before.
Oh, snap. There it is. Oh boy.
I forgot. It actually came up on my Facebook memories stuff.
Yeah.
Recent, like 2 days ago, and I was like, I was so small there, like, because I went through like a lot of stress and eating disorder kind of stuff when I lived in Mexico, and we'll talk about that later. But I was very small, and so I won, but because it was bikini round, like it's just.
Yeah. Oh, I got you. It's not the same as what you've been used to.
It's not, and I'm not taking it from anybody who's in bikini, because I feel like anybody who competes at any level and gets on stage in a freaking sparkly ass bikini deserves like an award.
And it's even how I describe it. I'm like, bikini is the easiest look to attain, but it's the hardest one to stand out.
Yes,
it's
1,000%, 1,000%, because like everyone's kind of ends up being like the similar size, and everyone's beautiful and done up and perfect. And so it's like, I feel like with fitness, you have more of a chance to kind of, stand out, like you said, because the routine is so unique to you. Yep. Whereas like the bikini rounds, I find, are just, yeah, exactly.
They're, I mean, if you want to take back in the time machine now, right here, hey, so who's this Kira? Or now at this point,
yeah,
you had an actual character developed. And how did you come up with that character? Is like the name, the idea, the concept, was that kind of developed for you, or did you kind of do it yourself?
I did everything myself. Actually, there's so many things about like my wrestling career that are completely unglamorous. Like when I talk about them, I'm just like, this is like the. So, Taya, who now transformed into Taya because of language differences and pronunciations of words and stuff. So here I am, Taya. This is I believe this is Arena Nesa, or yeah, it looks like Arena Nesa in Mexico City, which is like a classic Lucha Libre arena, and that is the late great Paraguayo Jr., who's with me, and I'm managing him there. And this is really early when I was in Mexico, because I'm not in wrestling gear. I'm in heels and freaking dress.
So you go from this all the way over to that. Now, is this something that you're practicing in the background while you're being, the manager, or all of a sudden were you the manager?
This is Vancouver. Like, this is early. This is in Vancouver before I even went to Mexico, because I'd already trained. So
Loki, you're so high. Like your shoulders almost above from this angle, from the top rope. That's a long way down.
I got hops. Okay, I can jump.
Yeah, but you have to land. Like there's one thing, what goes up, what comes down. Like how long did it get used to you getting that much air, kicking someone, and then know you're about to find gravity and then hit the mat?
And fall on the floor. Well, I was trained by Lance Storm at the Storm Wrestling Academy before I even so this is an ECCW in Vancouver versus Nicole Matthews. I probably have been wrestling like 3 months here. My gosh. Ooh. And but I mean, you train for this kind of stuff, and that's why it's so. I always tell people like, I want to get into wrestling. Like, I don't know what to do. And it's like, yeah, there's a lot of times where someone is picked for the way they look, or an actor, or a pro athlete in other areas, such as like football players and UFC people coming over into like professional wrestling. But a lot of us, it's just, you have to go and train and you learn, and you have to find a really good school. And I think that that's like a number one thing I always say to people. Like, there are so many people out there that say that they're trainers or teachers, but their school, you know, I'm just like, in every facet of life, there's a lot of people that actually don't know what they're talking about.
No, there's no one in the
Well,
fitness
I was
industry
very
that, you know,
lucky
everybody
to have
knows what they're
found,
talking about.
I was very lucky to have found Lance's school when I did in Canada. And then when I went to Mexico, I was training like constantly, because I was originally only supposed to go there for a month and a half. I ended up staying 5 years. And and I was training like 3 different, like I was training with Silver King at night. I was training with Sky Day in the afternoon. I was training with Apache in the morning. And so I was taking the subway all over Mexico City. In the subway system, tall, blonde girl, didn't stand out at all, right?
No, not at all. No.
How I survived a lot of things, I have no idea. But yeah, so I was training, and so when that was on AAA TV, that picture of me with Pero, and AAA is the biggest Lucha Libre company that exists in Mexico and has like been going on for like almost 30 years or something. And yeah, they were just having me manage at first, but I was trying to get a contract, so I was like trying to like get them to hire me full time so that I could be on TV and wrestling, because I didn't want to manage. But Paraguayo was the like founder and the leader of a faction meaning like a little group of people, characters on TV in wrestling, that was called Perros del Mal. And he saw me when I first went to Mexico like 3 days in, and was like, when are you leaving? And I said, well, I have a flight home, but I don't really want to go home. And then he said, okay, you're staying. And then I stayed.
Nice.
And I was the first female member to ever be part of Perros del Mal. So that's kind of how that all started. And that's why I was valeting for him first. And then eventually I started asking, because Conan was one of the producers, and I'd say, hey, like, can I valet for him? But can I wear my wrestling gear? Because I wanted to slowly become like more involved in this stuff, in the matches and things like that. And that's what happened. I progressed into wearing wrestling gear. And then they're like, do you want to do a moonsault off this dome that's like way too high in the air? And I would go like, hey, why not? And so then I just started doing, I don't know, you know, when you want a job or you want an opportunity, and I was like, I have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Except for my life. But
yeah, no big deal. Break some bones, you know.
But I was just so driven to like, I was just like, I can't fail at this, you know? Like when people say, oh, she's going to come home. And it's like, yeah, I had a flight home, but I never intended to go home. Never. And I was just like, I'm going to make this work. I went from like, at one point I had no money, so broke, like trying to figure out how to make it work down there. And I eventually, everything kind of started coming around. And like 6 months after I arrived, I was offered a contract by AAA. And then I started like, you know, wrestling like five, sometimes 7 days a week, traveling around Mexico as a whole.
Oh man. So when you're coming into Mexico, like you said, you didn't stand out all that much, but when there's a newbie coming in, was it something where you're like, holy shit, I have to earn my respect from everyone? Oh. You know, no one's going to think I'm real. I'm some blonde Canadian that's just coming to, you know, chase that dream that's never going to happen. And now, when did you get their respect? Was it when
I still don't know.
I don't know. I mean, was this the moment when all of a sudden you earned the respect where, you know, we're going to talk about this picture in a minute, but now. But if we're looking at this picture.
This was at Triple Mania when I won the Reina de Reinas championship belt, and I was the first ever non-Mexican woman to do so. And actually became the longest reigning champion for, you know, over 900 days as champion. So this was me versus Fabi Apache, and I got kicked right in the old nose there. It was great.
Now, that's real blood. I mean, I'm not any kind of forensic scientist or any guy that's, you know, able to depict, but I can tell that's real blood. Now,
also, my nose is like on the side of my face.
it's kind of got a smear on that. Now, this is where you broke your nose, wasn't it?
Yeah, I broke it in 2 places. It's funny enough about the fake blood comment, because my mom was at this show, and she came backstage afterwards. She goes, "Oh my God, that was amazing. The fake blood was great." And I said, "What are you talking about?"
What?
And I had, at this point, like, because my nose was like totally crooked. They took I saw Paraguay when I first, like right after winning. And he's like, "I'm so proud of you. Now go and get your face looked at, because it looks like shit." And yeah, you can see there. And they took me into a broom closet, and the doctor grabbed my nose. And my friend Arjunus was with me, and he gave me a shot of tequila, and then they said, count to 3. And on 2, they pushed my nose back into.
Oh, now, come on now. Like, you go through something like that, you're now, you have a broken nose, you can tell it's gotta hurt. And now all of a sudden, at that point, you're like, now I've made it. Now, did everybody kind of change when they kind of see how much you're willing to dedicate your body towards becoming a champion, and then you create it? Like, is that when everyone kind of respected you and you kind of made it, or?
I think that, like, especially in Lucha Libre and Mexico as a whole, it's the Wild West. So there's like a lot of people that were super supportive, and then they're like, some of these people are still to this day like best friends of mine. And then there's other people that didn't like me even more because now I had, accomplished something. So then it's like I had already gotten the target on my back because I'm this blonde girl from Canada who wants to be a luchadora, and then all of a sudden now, so there was obviously totally mixed feelings about me, but it never stopped me because I just knew what I wanted. And I went through a lot of depression. I went through a lot of anxiety because I was like constantly like, oh my God, no one, I just felt like I had no real friends for a long time, because I was just like, and it's corny, but it's like, I'm a girl with a dream, but that was literally what it was. And I just didn't, in my brain and in my, like, I just didn't have that failure that was even a possibility. So I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And like, I'm so thankful that there was people like Conan, Pero, Lady Shani, like all these kind of Daga and Phoenix and Pentagon are like part of my family, that were there to be like my core people. And we all just kind of all had that same mentality of just, there is no way we're failing at this. And it's really great to see that like so many of those people like Phoenix and Pentagon and I and Daga and all, we all went on to be on Lucha Underground, which was the other show that we did here in the US. And now they're on AEW, Daga and I are on Impact. Like we've all kind of like evolved and grown together. And Conan is still like a huge part of our life, like my wrestling Lucha Libre uncle, you know what I mean? Yep. And like wrestling dad, as I like to say. And that's what it's about, you know what I mean? Like there's going to be haters and there's going to be people that just do not have the same vision as you do. But if you have that so clear, like there was just no way, because we were like, you should just go home. So many times, especially in the first year. And I was like, no, like, what are you talking about? And they're like, all right, well, you got to go run around here like 50 times. And then tell me, are you going to stay or not? And like, they would just, it was just like,
oh man,
some pretty like horrible things like that. But at the same time, I wouldn't say like not like hazing or anything, but like I just feel like it was just such a, Lucha Libre is part of Mexican culture, and I feel like you had to really just, you have to want it in a situation like that, or else you're just gonna get eaten alive and spat out. So I just was, and I was very self-aware. You can't be, just like, I swear everyone loves me. No, people want you to fail. And I think that in any point in your career, if you're in entertainment, in sports or anything, there's always going to be people that are just like, I hope that she falls on her face and never gets up, I
imagine that's going to happen even in the ring. Someone's going to be hoping, oh my God, I hope she stays down.
Yeah. And and I was a villain on TV for like ever. So, not to mention, we haven't even gotten into like the fans and all that kind of stuff, but like, it was just, I am so forever grateful of like the people that did help me. Those that didn't, screw you. Here I am.
Officially. Yeah.
Officially. But also, sometimes maybe I needed that. Maybe I needed them to be like a little hard on me. Maybe not that hard, but hey, whatever. I survived, and I'm all the better performer and person for it. I gained so much like more patience. I think that I became a better person because I just felt like I got to see so many different types of people, and things that I used to just take for granted. I was just like, oh my gosh, like I appreciate this so much more. And that continues to kind of be my life, is that I just kind of, with hardships comes all these moments, these aha moments where you're like, okay, it's okay that this happened because now this happened or whatever. And it makes you just like be more understanding of and aware of like people as a whole and cultures, and the world is not perfect. And
no, it doesn't matter where you are.
It doesn't matter where. And like, I just tried to be, as understanding and as nice as possible, and try to learn from every single situation, and had it be, broken noses or not, it's just part of it. And it was part of my story. So.
And that's what it is it's a story, right? Like your character, I mean, it's going to have some resemblance of who you are and a part of it, but it's not the two same people. So what was it like when you're creating this character where how fans treated you, everyone thinks this is who you are, this is exactly who they're going to see if they catch you in a store? And what was it like when anytime you're in public, you more or less have to be on? And so it has to be, like you said, it's so tiring, draining, pressure to look a certain way, pressure to act a certain way. What was that all kind of like, or is like?
I feel like in Mexico, Lucha Libre is it's the second most popular sport to soccer. So it is incredibly popular level of like millions and bazillions of people that watch it. And that's just it. Like everyone has more of a, this is real life kind of mentality towards it, as opposed to in the US, Canada, where we see it more as sports entertainment. So that was like, I mean, I didn't hear my real name Kira for years.
I even had to ask him, like, am I calling you Kira? Am I calling you Taya? Like, I didn't know.
It's so weird. Like, it's just these things that I just kind of got used to. And so, like, no one ever called me Kira. And it was just Taya, 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 Taya. And like my nickname, which is Güera Loca, which means crazy white, crazy blonde girl, basically. And so people would just yell, Güera, Güera at me, like in the streets. And like, it was just like constant. But it was very strange because like I was playing a villain in AAA. And then when I would, I'd get death threats and social media attacks. Like that's a whole other, like, thing you can talk about. Yeah, it's pretty weird. But like at the same time, I just tried to, if someone in the street was like in Spanish would say like, screw you, Taya, I can't believe what you did to so-and-so. And I'm just like, ha ha ha, ha, and I just like go away. Like I was never trying to instigate a problem either. But also I really feel like I gained the respect of Lucha Libre fans because of how long I was there, because of how much I didn't speak a word of Spanish. I'm not fluent in Spanish. And I've been a representation of the international, Lucha Libre scene. And also just kind of, I try to advocate that, pro wrestling and sports are languages that like there's no correct language for that. That's it's for everybody, Yep. It doesn't matter what language you speak, where you're from, what culture you're from, the color of your skin. Like Lucha Libre pro wrestling is for everybody. And I feel like that's been a huge part of my success, is that I've really tried to fully immerse myself in what I'm doing. And that's what I did with Lucha Libre. So even though there were some people that wanted, to burn my house down and stuff like that, at the same time, I was really, really, really like accepted, I think, by the fans, and I was given a lot of other opportunities in Mexico and on, the side of buses and on ads for crackers. And I was on a TV novella. I did a bunch of other things because, even though I was this horrible, horrible villain Taya, but right. It was a very interesting time in my life. And I'm glad that when I do, I'm now the 3-time champion. I have the Reinas championship right now. And I'm a good guy. So I get to smile a lot more and shake hands. And
when did you know, like was there a moment where you realized, okay, I am going to make it. I am going to make it, or holy shit, I made it. Have you hit that point where all of a sudden you win your first, second, third title, or now you're wrestling against someone that you're like, holy shit, I've always looked up to them? When was your moment where you're like, aha, I have now made it to the level of where I thought I could, and now I'm going to move ahead? When was that?
I never think that way. I remember Dorian Roldan, who's the owner of Lucha Libre AAA. I remember after I won the belt the first time, they were announcing Lucha Underground, and I actually was not on season 1 of Lucha Underground. And I immediately was like, well, how come I'm not being announced on Lucha Underground? He's like, you just won the championship. Your face is messed up. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're never happy. And I was like, I am not happy. Like, when I click something, check something off the list, I was like, okay, well, what's next? Like, there's never a moment where I feel like the top of this mountain just keeps going. Yep. And I feel like when you're an entrepreneur, where you're an athlete, where you're trying to like continually grow your business or whatever it is that you do, like you should constantly be reaching for a summit that's not there. Like it's just there, but I can't reach it yet. And I haven't reached it yet. So I feel like there's still a lot of things left for me to do. And I feel like it's been a huge part of my who my character is and who I am is to constantly show evolution and grow with the times and, you know, be self-aware of what's going on, what's working, what's not working. And it's constantly testing, you know, what those limits are and then seeing how much closer you can get to that summit, but still not getting to it.
Yeah, which you tied into my next question perfectly. Now, this next image I'm going to share, if some people are a little squeamish, and sorry for the people that are just listening, you're not going to see it. You're going to have to watch this live. Not watch it live, but watch it on the YouTube channel to see what I'm talking about. So this next picture, everybody, if you don't like squeamish things, look away, but you see Kira smiling because she's like, oh my God, because she's know what's coming up. Now, I remember seeing this picture on your Instagram, and I'm sitting there looking, going, "Oh my God! Like that's a lot of blood, and that's real, is it not?"
Yeah, I mean, my hair is red there too, underneath there, but all that stuff on my forehead and in my hair and that's blood.
Now, now the head bleeds a lot when it's cut. Now, when you first realize that the top of your forehead, I think it's on guessing it's at the top of your head where you're cut, and you feel the blood coming down. Now, did you think you were cut that bad, or were you like, oh my God, this is way, like, talk me through this? Because it's got to be in your eyes, it's got to be in your nose.
Take a seat here. All right. So after I was like busted open, Ayako, who I was wrestling in this match, Ayako Hamada, she put me in a tree of woe, which means I'm hanging upside down in the corner off the turnbuckle. So my head went down and my feet were up. So, you know, when they like drain like animals at the... yeah. We can, let's go with that reference. I don't know how else to say it. Your blood rushes down because of gravity. So when I was upside down was when I realized that it was as bad as it was, because all of a sudden my whole face, I remember feeling my face go rum like this. And then there was just, I'm hanging upside down. I got kicked in the face with a chair. There's a bunch of stuff's going on. And then I fell down out of it. And when I went like that was when I first realized like it was just everywhere. And it was just in my eyes. I couldn't see out of my left eye for like half of the match because the blood was in my eye and my contact lenses. And so it was just like, yeah. There's a lot.
I remember looking at that and I'm like, what? Like, I'm like, is she getting a fat paycheck for this? Like, that is unbelievable on how much. And I'm like, wow. I mean, that's dedication to the sport.
That was the end of a feud with Ayako because I had lost the belt to her, and then I won it back at that match. So that was in Tijuana, which is actually the Auditorio de Tijuana, which is one of my favorite places to wrestle because Tijuana has a huge history of Lucha Libre with Rey Mysterio Jr. and everyone coming from there, and the 619 in San Diego. But so I love performing there. And it was a Tijuana street fight for AAA TV. And so there was tables and ladders and chairs, and we fought through the crowd. And like, this is pre-coronavirus times, and I'm like grabbing people's beers, and I'm like, it's just like, it was actually one of my favorite matches because it still gets brought up as one of the best hardcore women's matches ever. And I feel like hardcore matches should not be done all the time, obviously, but I feel like when there is a storyline and a feud or an angle with somebody, and that's the culmination of months of like, drama, I feel like it's the perfect kind of exclamation point on that, and then you can kind of evolve into whatever else the story is to be next. So I loved that match, and I'm so glad that, because a lot of times maybe people don't really think that girls should be doing that, which I think is stupid. I feel like we should be able to do whatever. And I think that we smashed it out of the park, and everyone was like, holy crap, that was great. And yeah, I'm very proud of that, even though, yeah.
That's something.
I had to fly out to, like, I remember after this, we drove back to LA, because it was obviously in Tijuana, so like it's like a 2.5, 3-hour drive back to LA, and I went straight to LAX because I had to fly out to go to New York for Comic-Con to do press for Lucha Underground, and I had this giant fluorescent pink
I can't. On
my head. I didn't know what else to do, and I'm like trying to be glamorous. I'm like, and my elbows, I remember my elbows hurt so bad like I'd forgotten my elbow pads. Like, this is the stupidest shit. God damn it. Why do I do this to myself? And I forgot like my elbow pads. So all my elbows like almost like burst a sack. Like, do you know what I mean? When it gets kind of like watery. And I was sitting on the plane and I couldn't put my elbows down on the armrest. And I was like, oh, like what is going
Yes. What was that? And I'm watching UFC fights and watching boxing and watching wrestling. The physical component, it's a lot on people's bodies. Like, it is extremely painful. And I've always wondered, what is it like the morning after, or the next couple of days after? I wish they would follow people for the next couple of days. Like, how sore are you and how hard is it to get out of bed knowing it's time to go to work and go get the shit beat out of you again? Then you're sore. Then, like, what is that like? Like, is that...
It's actually interesting because what's been going on in the world has made us all kind of realize like how sore we do get, because when you're wrestling so before COVID, obviously, like I worked for Impact Wrestling, so we're filming Impact Wrestling TV like every few weeks, and then I'm also on the independent circuit. I was traveling to England. I was doing like still doing AAA TV. So I was wrestling like 5 days a week, and then I went to like nothing. And there was like 2 months where I didn't wrestle at all. And that's probably the longest break I've taken in like the almost 10 years that I've been in the business. And now we started doing TV again in the closed sets with no fans. And like, there's just been this like, kind of, we had to evolve with everything that's going on, but we're not wrestling like nothing compared to what we used to. And so it's pretty brutal. Like I remember my first match back, I had a 20-minute match versus Jordan Grace for the Knockouts Championship. My first day after 2 months off, and I was like,
yep.
And also your cardio, there is no amount of treadmill running, drills, I don't know, whatever, HIIT exercises that are the same as in-ring training. Because of the way that the mats move, because of the way that it bounces, because of like up, down, and you're like picking people up, throwing them down, picking people up, throwing them down. So if you're not getting in a ring, and there was no rings that were available for months in LA to even go work out in. So it was really rough. And I'm like, some parts of me are like, maybe it was a good thing. I kind of like trying to, look at the bright side of it. And it was just like, it's just pretty brutal.
And how, like you said, you guys were wrestling all the time, and then all of a sudden COVID hit. And, we were all told, it's going to be 2 weeks isolation. And then everyone's under the assumption that we're all going to go back to work as normal. So what was COVID kind of like for you going through it, where you used to being so active? You said you're getting really, really sore. What kind of things did you do to kill time? And did you actually take time off?
Well, I couldn't, I think for the first 2 weeks when it all went down at first, we were all kind of like, okay, well, it's kind of like a little vacation, I guess. And like, didn't think anything of it. And then it just kept going. And going and going. And I feel like, I think just like a lot of people in the world, I went through a time when I was like, I don't even, what is going on? Like, this is my career was like doing so good, and everything was just like momentum going. And then it came to a complete, like, what is the point of this? Like, I don't, you get depressed. Like there was a lot of wine drinking, like that was going on. Like, if anybody and everyone reacts to how they handle stress differently. And I've seen some people go completely the opposite way, where they're just like running outside every day to try and occupy their time, and they got shredded. And then there's other people that like, we just got depressed and ate ice cream. Like, I don't know. And I feel like for the first like month and a half, 2 months, I was feeling like that. It was pretty rough because I was just like, what? And like my husband works for WWE, and so their filming changed obviously as well, but they were kind of still working down at the PC in their closed sets and doing everything as safely as possible. And like Impact wasn't too far behind, but there was still like this pocket of time where I was like, just like staying here, like in my house by myself, like crazy.
Now that's isolation,
and I went, and I'm a social person, and so there was a lot, I feel like, and I'm sure everybody did this, but there was like a lot of house party app drinking games going on with people on my and Zoom happy hours. Like, I don't think that I've spoken to like Mandy as much as I did for the first. Like, we talk every week. Like, I talk to my friends in Canada every week. But like, we were just like, oh, what are you guys doing right now? We're doing shots? All right.
A lot of nothing.
What? Like, I don't know. Like, it was just, that's just how a lot of us reacted to it. But now I feel like then once like Impact started filming again, and it just kind of, you had to just go, okay, well, I can stay depressed and I hate this, or I can try and do something. And also, like, I'm a creative person, so I need to be creating or have a creative outlet, and that was just really hard, and that's where Lucha came in. So I've just tried to like evolve with the times as usual.
Right.
Evolving person. So yeah, I mean, I feel like we have a gym in our house, so I was able to work out, but I just was like not motivated to do anything. I just was like, I'd look at the stuff and I'd be like,
It looks good just right where it is.
Maybe I'll just like watch 90 Day Fiance for 12 hours. Like, I don't know, like
that air bike looks pretty comfortable where it is. It needs a rest.
God. Like, I mean, let's just hang a sweatshirt on there. Maybe.
Yeah, might as well. Now I got another picture for you. Now Kira doesn't know the pictures that I've picked, so we're gonna share the next one. And is it embarrassing? Is it not? Let's see what story it tells. All right, Kira. See, not bad, right? Yeah. Okay. So talk to us. We have some belts. You're now an Impact. What happened here?
So this was Homecoming in 2019, January of 2019, where I won the Knockouts Championship for the first time. And that is my husband, who was in Impact at the time. And we are the first ever real husband and wife, no storyline, real husband and wife to have been consecutive champions at the same time in a major television promotion.
That's awesome. And congratulations. That ties it in. What's it like having two big time wrestlers in the same house where he has all his fans, you have all your fans, and then you guys have your normal life? Like, what's it like having, two superstars in the same household?
I've been now like John and I, like I was saying, I've been together for almost, 4.5 years, almost 5 years. When 2021 comes and everything goes back to being perfect, then would have almost been 5 years together. And we've always just worked together, like I said, in AAA, in Lucha Underground, and where characters were together on Lucha Underground. Our characters actually got married on Lucha Underground prior. It was like a few months. It was like we filmed it before our actual wedding, but it aired afterwards.
Oh, nice.
That was really fun. And so we've always kind of worked together. Then we went to Impact together. I'm like really used to it. Actually, right now it's like been the hardest because we're in different companies, but because of our schedules kind of being the same with like when we're leaving and doing work stuff. So just kind of, it's just like anybody, you leave and go to work and come home. That's just the way that it is. But like our fans are really supportive of us. We're very, present on social media and honest about I'm always try to be like an open book because that's just the way that I am. Sometimes I talk too much. But it's been great, and I'm forever grateful that I have someone that like understands what I've been through and understands how much work goes into it, and understands like when you don't like a storyline, or maybe you don't like, I don't know, there's like a million things that can go wrong, and there's a million things that are amazing, and when they happen, like he gets it, the good and the bad. So it's been great because we have each other for this part of our lives, and supporting each other and watching each other grow, not only as individuals but as a couple too.
That's awesome. And that's you need someone that does understand your hustle, your trade. They know the hours, the dedication, the time, the demands on it. So yeah, that's support is always the big force
there's
behind
no
it.
way like that there's no way I could even think about having somebody like that wasn't supportive. You know what I mean? Like John is just always wants to see the most creative things coming out of me. He wants to see me be successful, and the same goes for him. Like we've written movies together. Our movie that we wrote on our honeymoon actually is in the final stages.
Nice.
It's a comedy horror short.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do tell what you can tell.
It's called The Iron Sheik Massacre. We wrote it on our honeymoon. We were really drunk on Mai Tais. And we actually filmed it last year. And it's just a short comedy horror short, and it's in its final stages of special effects. This is very special effects heavy. So like we've done like all sorts of, and even Lucha, my clothing line is a collaboration between both of us. But like that's what I mean is we're always trying to like challenge each other and be creative together, as well as having obviously like our own lives, because I think that's important as well. But it's been great, and like You'll have to come to the premiere of our movie if the border opens up.
I was like, yeah, you know what? You might have to put the Zoom and a tripod up.
Yeah, right? Yeah, so I don't know when it's gonna, I was hoping that we'd have it out by like this Halloween because of like horror movie festivals and doing all those kind of stuff, but everything has just been so, we don't know what tomorrow's bringing us.
Hey, that's exactly it. It's learn the patience game, the hurry up, and I don't want to wait anymore. And it's, you know, we're going to take a look on the screen. Like you said, you have your own clothing line right here. So where did that come from? You said it's a combination of the two of you. What kind of clothing is it? Talk to us.
So I actually went back to school this past January. I'm actually a fashion student at the Art Academy University, which is out of San Francisco. So I do all of my stuff online, which actually has been a lifesaver for my brain during this time when I've just been at home. And the whole point of that was like, I think it's always important to educate and I hadn't been to school in so long, and I was petrified. But I always wanted to have my own clothing line. I always been like, my costumes and clothes and everything that I invest into Taya are all brainchilds of me, you know? So I wanted to do something fun and different, and this kind of gave me something to work on. And so Lucha by Taya Valkyrie is like a streetwear, like sports kind of wear, loungewear type style of clothing. It just available on TayaValkyrie.com. I actually just this morning got the final to approve these final tracksuits that are coming out that are sick. And these are actually the stuff that's coming out this fall. I can't give a date specifically. I also just don't know when you're gonna post this, but we're just
it's coming out this week. Like we're talking in the next 48 hours.
Anyways, like in October, in October we'll have like a release date coming up soon once I have these final things approved for the newest stuff. And these are actually all original tracksuits that are from my original sketches.
No way.
So these have been manufactured to my specifications, and so this is a really big deal. It's very scary.
Ooh, big fish. But, I like this.
Yeah, we're trying. It's constantly evolving. Is that like the name of the game over here? But yeah, this is the first time that it's been from like, you know, the images that I see in my head, and I put them on paper, and now they're getting manufactured. It's craziness. But we've done 3 different drops, and then this fall drop is going to be the biggest and craziest one that I've done. And I hope that I can have like a little, I don't know, a Zoom fashion show. I don't know, something, because there's just like, I'm just so excited about it. Everyone's going to love it. Like I said, everything will be available at TayaValkyrie.com. But yeah, it's really exciting for me. It's just something else, another part of me and another part of my creativity. And I really hope that everyone likes the clothes, because I really do.
Hey, as long as you like it, like you said, you've had haters, you've had, you know, people that you thought were lovers, but they're haters. And then now you have your huge fans coming in. I mean, why wouldn't it be successful? Where if it has a piece of you and people are going to see it, I haven't seen any hints yet, hint, but I mean, it's exciting to see where, you know, I hear once in a while, you know, Nathan, what haven't you done? Now I'm listening to your whole story, what you've been up to in the past 10 years. And I'm like, what the hell haven't you done? You made a movie.
It's a lot.
When you're hungover, I mean, drinking on a honeymoon, who thinks, hey, let's write a screenplay and let's make a movie? I mean, no one thinks of that. And now you have your clothing line, and now, you know, you've been through Mexico. You have 3 titles. You know, you have a husband. What the hell is
next? 2 dogs. I got 2 Pomeranians. One named
Pomeranians.
Follow them on Instagram.
What is left for you where, you know, like you said, you haven't made it to the wow, I've made it moment. You're always reaching for the next thing outside of your reach. What's in the future of Taya?
Well, I just want my company to keep growing. Obviously, we're only like 3 or 4 months old, so baby steps. So I want Lucha to keep growing. I want to keep just accomplishing, you know, different things in professional wrestling and creating my own story, my own legacy, my own history. And pushing those limits. What those might be, I'm not really sure, but I just know that there's so much left. I still have so much left to give. And I've been a groundbreaking performer for the last 10 years, and I plan on continuing to do so. And I really would love to write some more stuff with John, put out some other movies and things, and there were some TV projects that I started being involved in right before COVID hit that hopefully we'll be able to finish soon.
Damn COVID, man.
Yeah, COVID. So, you know, just kind of grasping it, just putting out myself into different things and continuing to grow as a performer, as an actor, as an athlete, as an entrepreneur. And and, you know, see what happens. And yeah.
Now, I'm looking in the background and I
Yeah.
see two little figurines. What's that going on there? Yeah.
These?
Yes. Yeah. 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 Those. I've been waiting a long time to ask you.
Okay. So these are micro brawlers. That's Taya.
Nice.
Here's Johnny.
Yeah.
I have a few of these left on my website. But they were put out by Impact Wrestling and ProWrestlingTees.com. But there's actually some new action figures that are coming out. Hopefully, I think they're supposed to be in January. There's one that's like a traditional action figure of me done that was like presented at like the like Toy Comic-Con. I forget like what it's actually called. But like presented at those giant toy expos. I don't know. And it's a Taya like action figure, and it's going with Lucha Libre Legends collection. And then there is a Taya Valkyrie. It's called a fashion doll, but it's actually an inspirational doll for girls or boys or whoever. And it's basically, they've made these dolls after all different types of women and their amazing different types of jobs. So there's like a vet, and she comes with a little animal, and then there's a, you know what I mean, there's all these like, and they're really really cute. And Taya comes with a Presley.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's cute.
I'm
That's
hoping
cute.
that they'll like add a little Bowie, because we did get a quarantine dog during this time. Another one. My two little poofs. But yeah, so those are hopefully Master Public is the best way to find out updates about that. And they're just at Master Public, I believe it is, on Instagram and on Twitter, as well as like Legends of Lucha Libre has been putting out all the information about those. But I'm very excited about those because I mean, she's so cute.
Which, I mean, that's unbelievable. Where like let's you know, from the beginning, you know, you meet a trainer, you don't know who he is, you confess that your destiny is to become a wrestler, and then, you know what, 12, 13, over 10 years later, you now have videos of yourself, you now have you wrestling, we have pictures of you bloodied all the way down, you have titles, you're the first person to, you know, in Mexico to get a female to get 2 titles, 3 titles now. You have a husband, you have figurines. Like, if someone ever asked you, what's your secret behind, from, oh my God, everyone saying, you know, she's never going to make it, to now watching you make it, what is the few things that kept you going?
Well, I haven't made it yet.
As you make it bigger. Okay. My bad.
I think like I said, I think it's just really finding that thing that makes you crazy, because that's pro wrestling really made me crazy. Literally, it's written on my shirt. So it's just like, I don't know, I just fell in love with something so hard that there was no way that I would not gonna succeed. You know, and as much as, you know, pro wrestling sometimes can be like a really bad ex-boyfriend that makes you mad and makes you cry. Like I have cried a lot. I have screamed a lot, cried a lot. I've also laughed and smiled and had all these really beautiful and wonderful moments in my life so far with professional wrestling. And I just think that that's it, as I found something that literally makes me crazy to the point where I can't fail. And I also just, you know, I worked really, really hard. Like I worked really, I don't know, I can't reiterate this enough. I worked really, really hard, and I'm still working really, really hard. And it's just all about that. There's absolutely nobody is going to come and knock on your door and be like, hey, do you want to do this? Here, just have it all. Like, that's not how this works. And it doesn't work anywhere like that. And you know that from fitness stuff, and you know that from having your own business, and me seeing you evolve into the successful Coach of the Year over 975 times. You know, like both of us have grown up, and it's so great. Oh my God. But yeah, I just think it's like finding that thing that makes you crazy and that makes you just want to fall in love with it over and over and over again. So
I mean, that's probably one of the best answers I've heard someone ask. That, you know, they don't give the typical world peace, don't stop believing. Like, it's just, you know, your answer was genuine. It's amazing. And one final question. No more pictures. I had a couple, but you know what? I'm not going to share them yet. We're going to see, you know, part 2. Maybe we'll see on the next phase in the future in your next podcast. But who would you like to give a shout out, a thank to, a fan number, maybe one of your favorite fans, you know, and how can everyone get a hold of your merchant? Let us know all of your socials.
All my stuff. All right. No, I just want to thank everybody who has supported and also hated on me for the last 10 years because I'm here to stay. So I also want to just thank like Lance Storm. I want to thank Conan. I want to thank everybody that was like literally like just been there for me like 100% of the time through it all. I would love to thank my husband, John, who's sleeping right now still. But
Damn.
no, John is just like, I mean, I hope one day you're gonna meet him in person, Nate, because I know that you guys will get along. Like he's a amazing person, honestly. And yeah, I just want to thank everybody for help coming along on this crazy, elaborate rabbit hole journey that I've been like deep down in Wonderland, you know?
Right?
It's been crazy, but I'm very happy where I am, and I'm going to continue to hopefully make everybody proud. And you can get all the Lucha by Taya Valkyrie clothing and for updates, obviously. So TayaValkyrie.com, TayaValkyrie.com, all one word, is where you can buy it all. On Instagram, you can follow us at Lucha by Taya Valkyrie. On Twitter, it's at Lucha by Taya V. And then obviously on Instagram and on Twitter, I am at the Taya Valkyrie.
Don't worry, guys. If you missed it, I'm going to put it on the screen so everybody has it in links. But Tyra, Kira, Taya, you know, no matter what people call you, success has followed you. You're getting more and more successful. You're not there yet, as you stated, but it's been awesome where I'm actually catching up of what you've been up to over the past decade. You know, you're working on, now we have this other project, you know, I get to kick the shit out of you again with programs and check-ins. So it's kind of nice where everything comes back in a complete circle, but it's not a bad thing. It's just to help push each other into the next level. So it's kind of neat where I got that message and I'm like, wow. First thing I thought is like, holy shit, this is a comeback. Like this is where it's all started. And then I get this message and, you know, we've been in contact, you know, every once in a while, maybe once a year or whatever. And then now, you know, we're back to, I get to kick the crap out of you.
Me all over again.
Yeah, I'm like, kick the crap out of you. And I'm like, oh shit. So it's kind of nice where, you know, one of your very first clients that have actually stuck with you for, you've watched them grow from working in a bar, making it, you know, making their face and their body and their success on stage in the fitness realm, and now just transforming it into wrestling. It's amazing to watch and see. Congratulations. I know there's some big things coming. I'm excited for the clothing line. I'm glad I finally got to ask that question about that bloody picture, because when I first saw it, I'm like, oh my God. And I mean, that was the highlight for me. But yes, thank you very much for sharing. We're going to put all your socials for people that want to learn more. Check her out, get her merchant, get the little figurines, the new one coming out. And you know what? All you haters. Yeah, suckers. And I mean, we all need haters out there. They push us to go ahead. But yes, thank you very much for your time. And I look forward to kicking your ass in the future and seeing what next comes up for you.
Thanks, Nate.